He said they're so desperate for work they don't care.
Okay.
All right, thank you. If I could have everyone's attention, please. I'll call to order our meeting for January 28, 2014. Jill, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Matthews?
Here.
Mr. Pollard?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here. The minutes were prepared for us from our regular trustees meeting dated January 14, 2014. Dan or Mike, do you have any changes or corrections?
No, it looks good.
I have none.
Those will stand approved as prepared for us. Public speaks. We'll open the floor to anyone that has any questions or comments before we continue with the agenda items. If there's anybody that wants to speak, just step up to the microphone. It looks like there's no takers, so we'll move on with the road department. Mike?
All right, Mike, you want to go ahead? Discuss county salt bid for 2014 and 2015. They're wanting, I guess the county is no longer going to be going with the program that we've been going with. So this is another option, or was it Jill, we could just bid it out ourselves possibly?
Yeah, I think there is that possibility. I'm not sure. I know they're encouraging us to go with the ODOT bidding program, but they are going to discuss it more at the engineers meeting with the townships.
On the March,
So, but, I mean, as far as the difference, right now, the county contract required us to bid, to purchase 60%, and we could go up to 140% of what our estimate was. With a state contract, you have to buy 80%, and you can only go up to 120, which we've never had to go over what our bid was anyhow, so.
how are we setting for salt now?
To be honest, I don't have the total with me tonight.
Well, I just want, I mean, you gonna,
Or is it looking like you're getting concerned? Because I've been hearing a lot lately on the news and in the papers, there's been some articles and stories. Some shortages.
I have ordered another 100,
Did you?
and I was just kind of curious to see how quick it was gonna come. That's why I went ahead and ordered it. And, but I've got about 100 ton in the shed, I'd say. So, but it's the little storms that kill us worse than like this big one. I mean, yeah, we use salt, but we don't use near the salt than we do when just these little going out.
Right.
is it a problem getting this?
The last time it took them a little while. I asked her today and she said it'd be a 7 to 10 days, which normally we can get it within 3 days.
Well, that's not so bad then.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if it was gonna be like real hard to get.
Mhm.
So I've been hearing
And
a
I did
lot.
talk with Kenny in at the city, and he said his was a long time to get his. I think the paper said 24 days or something.
Did he go through Morton now?
Yeah.
Cargill?
He went through the state
Yeah,
bid.
he's with the state ones,
Yeah.
so.
I've been hearing a lot of the Morton people have been upset.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't anything that we actually have to take action on tonight, just kind of be aware and see what they say, I guess, in March. They do encourage you to get signed up if we're going with ODOT bid. We have to be signed up with their purchase program before they actually go out for bids, so they have it in their total amount.
They're gonna go over that at the March 28th and 29th.
Yeah, that's what they indicated.
All right.
All right, Mike.
Request approval for a then and now purchase order to Lavery's Auto in the amount of $1,409.10 for repairs to the GMC Sierra new torque converter.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Receiving a meeting notice from Stark County Township Association. The Stark County Engineers Office annual meeting will be Friday, March 28th, 2014 for the road department personnel, and Saturday, March 29th, 2014 for the trustees. Copies included.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Jim?
I don't, thank you.
Any? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Mike, you can stick around a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, Chief, whenever you're ready, you can come on up. Dan, you can handle the agenda items under fire department if you would, please.
Hi, Chief. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, request approval to payment to Finley Fire the amount of $200.16 for repairs to one of the jobs.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Request to approve payment to Stark County Fire Chiefs Association, amount of $35 for annual dues.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Request approval for a purchase order to MCCTC Adult Career Center, an amount of $2,600 to send 2 firemen to 156 hours, which would be a firefighter 1 course.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Request to use Station 1 for the Firemen's Festival, May 9th and 10th.
Is it gonna rain then?
Of course. Of course.
Well, then, okay, I make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
You've been lucky a couple times.
Yeah.
It's not snowing.
Okay.
Request to use Station 1 for Fireman's Pancake Breakfast, March 15th.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Then we have a request to use the meeting room by Steve Nisley on February 23rd.
It's available.
Make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
I also have a request to use the meeting room by Joe Lagros on February 15th.
And it's available.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
Yes.
And I think that's it.
All right.
I have anything else? You have anything else?
I don't.
The only thing I had was, you're gonna get us some prices on some of those items that we talked
Yeah.
about at the end.
Actually, some of those are on our wish list.
Okay, I mean, I
Yeah.
just wanted to at least look into
Yeah.
some of the stuff.
Okay.
Thanks.
And stick around just a couple
Okay.
minutes if you would, Chief. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, we'll move on to zoning. Only item on the agenda is to hear about any zoning complaints that we need to discuss.
We don't have any new complaints,
Okay.
of these now, and the 3 that we put off until March to deal with. We did have a call from a contractor today that's going to demo the 3 houses for Stark County,
Mhm.
and they wanted to start tomorrow, but they failed to have any utilities disconnected. So we managed to get the gas scheduled, the water. I didn't know until today, Alliance has a $500 fee if you want to disconnect a meter from a property.
Okay.
I explained to her that, well, how it was being done under a grant and all. So they agreed to waive that, waive it to us,
Yeah.
and they'll put it on the property, so if it's resold, they'll hopefully get their money.
So the 3 are scheduled and actually should come down, and the 4th is approved.
Yes,
Okay.
and probably, the soonest we could get the electric and the gas off was, and the water was by next Tuesday. So I would say the contractor's ready to go, so I'd say next week they'll all be coming down.
All right.
So that's encouraging, and otherwise, we had a BZA meeting last night, and got a conditional use permit for construction trailers to be over at the old railroad property. I did put a copy of the file in for you, Jim. And they think it'll be about 8 months, but a conditional permit is good for a year. So they're gonna put a gas line in from Portage County to Mahoning County for Sunoco gas.
Where are the trailers gonna be?
If you go across Gasville, immediately to the left, or back in there where it's fenced off and all, they've got a contract with Quaker Realty, which is my company.
Very good.
Thanks, Lynn.
Dan, anything zoning related? Mike?
Not at this time,
No,
no.
this time? All right, well, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
And we'll turn to you, Ken. Anything for us this evening?
Well, only what I filed with you is my written report concerning the allegation of upgrading them a dozen chickens.
Right. And it appears as though everything has been taken care of, including the removal of the sheds, is that right?
The shed that's there is used to house the pig and the chickens.
What about, is it, the only pen that was at issue was the hog pen, right?
Right,
That's
hog,
what we're-
that's been, that fencing and everything has been destroyed and removed to the wooded areas that belong to someone else. And that's, too, is in a zone that permits that type of activity.
And all pigs were gone as of October 1st of 2013, so.
Well, I appreciate you independently looking at it, listening to the recording, making sure that we had lived up to whatever our bargain was, or the items discussed during the meeting we held. And as far as we're concerned, the property owner has also abided by the agreement or understanding.
Yes. They were a little shocked and amazed, and a little sincere. I called them concerning this because they thought that it had been resolved, that they had resolved it.
Now, how do we communicate this to the other party involved?
Sorry.
Well, nobody knew I was such a comedian.
Good luck with that.
I have a suggestion. And of course, that suggestion is going to be that Ken Cardinal.
No.
Why do I feel like this is like a mission impossible? Should you choose to accept, I'd like you to send a letter to her.
All right, I can do that.
Basically, without providing the same
I had to give my
legal
return address.
advice. Well, I want to make sure that we're letting people know where we're at and what the position is.
Yeah, I
Try and
can-
avoid confusion about it.
I do have the name of a billboard company.
This is an ongoing dispute between neighbors. It's been ongoing for at least a few years. But in that R2 zone, we have to recognize that you can have livestock in an R2 zone with 2 acres, provided that your livestock's not used for commercial purposes. So if you want to raise a cow on 2 acres for personal consumption, you can do that. If you want to have feeder pigs on your property, you can do that. If you think that you can get them on 2 acres, it might not be a good idea, but as long as it's not for commercial purposes, we don't prevent that. Livestock used for commercial can't be in an R2 zone.
Well, again, that's because of the limitations we have as a matter of the revised code and agricultural limits. The only, as we discussed in the meeting and we've brought to the attention of this property owner many times, there are nuisance rules that apply. But when we discussed it the last time, I viewed it more as a private nuisance and not as a viable public nuisance.
That's correct. There's no other neighbor in that area that has complained about livestock being raised on their premises for their personal consumption.
Well, all kidding aside, do you mind just crafting, without giving the same elements of legal advice, but just crafting the conclusions and sending a letter to them? All right. Is that all right with you, Dan?
That sounds great.
I think it's a good idea.
If you would, please, and then that should close that matter out for us, okay?
Yes?
All right, that sound good, Linda?
Excellent.
Anything else, Ken?
No, I don't.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
Mhm.
Move on to a few general township items. First item, I'll move that we open a purchase order to the U.S. Postmaster in the amount of $420 for postage for 2014.
Yes.
And then this whopping new item, discussing replacing these old chairs that we've been using way beyond their useful lifetime. And we're looking at, what, a few different options here from Staples. Mike, do you guys have this in your folder or not? Is it just in mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like they range from a basic of $60, kind of an intermediate high back chair, of a whopping $80 each.
I could go up to
You're
$400 each if you wanted me to,
Really?
but,
You know this group's not going to do that. So.
yeah.
Mhm. And then the one for 90.
I think just,
I was gonna say that,
The one in the middle looks a little better.
yeah, I was gonna say the basic difference, that first one there was a lower back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just cleaning
Plus
up the
I have
appearance is
two
gonna
months
be
stuff
a
in
Right.
big improvement.
What I could do is, if you'd like to give me those numbers or something tonight, get these numbers, I can stop in there tomorrow and take the day off. Kind of take a peek at them and set my butt in there.
think that's a good idea.
And we
You
do
want
have
to
a-
try these out and give us your impression.
And we do have a coupon too for over $150, you get $30 off.
And I always
That's kind of regular.
get rewards and stuff through things out.
Well, I think we collectively have agreed we're going to replace these chairs, right? Why don't we go ahead and open a purchase order, if that's all right with you?
That's fine.
And if we went with the radical ones at $90 each, that what those were?
Yeah, $89.99.
Always do a not to exceed.
So just do a $500 purchase order, we can close whatever balance is on.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fine.
All right, I'll move that we open a purchase order for the purchase of chairs to be used here in the meeting room for Staples, not to exceed the amount of $500.
You want to buy new ones?
Yeah, we're gonna buy five.
Five.
Yeah. And then we'll wait till your report back on which one you think are best, okay?
Okay.
Complete with video or photograph. No, really, whatever you think is best,
Yeah,
use your judgment, and then we'll just act on that purchase order and go ahead and order them, okay?
Fine with me.
All right. Those are the only items under General Township. Mike or Dan, do you have anything for General Township?
Not at this time.
We have the cash revenue and expenditure financial report for year-to-date prepared by the fiscal officer. I move that we approve that as prepared for us.
Yes.
Jill, what are the bills tonight?
They are $18,650.79.
Thank you. I'll move we authorize payment of the bills tonight of $18,650.79.
Second.
Yes.
Number of communication items we've received as usual, catalogs, seminar notices, advertisements, and such. I'll move that we file all communications.
Second.
Yes.
Okay, anybody have any questions, comments, or anything about the items we covered tonight? If you do, raise your hand or let us know. All right, seeing none. Pursuant to revised code 121.22G and the exceptions thereunder for executive session, I'll move that we convene an executive session for the purpose of considering various employment-related benefit items.
Second.
And with that, we'll convene in about 5 minutes, so we'll stand in recess. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight.
Are you guys thinking about going to